update. Looking at the weekly, I'm going to come back to these horizontals in just a bit. But what I really want to look at is where we are here, right? And this is more or less a follow-up video from the other day. But right here, this area is really important right now. For one, that's where we're holding currently at this 42 level, which just so happens to be this weekly high right here. At the last run up, before we dipped a little bit, consolidated, and made the next run towards all-time high and started to really cool. So, given this outlook, and compared to the 2017 run, well, not even compared to the 2017 run, just for healthy continuation to the upside, we've got to pull back to this area. We got to pull back to this area, in my opinion, for healthy continuation back up. I think that this is necessary. So, like I said, this is the weekly high after the big run up before this dip and consolidation before we moved to or tried to push to all-time high, which, if I remember right, was this. A lot of this was mainly derivative led. So we're back down at and holding that level, which to me that this is a strong support level, and one of the levels we looked at in the last video that we were looking at. So we were looking at the 43 level and the 42 level to hold first, based off of this weekly high. And if we didn't get that, we were looking at this next area, between 40 and 38 are the first spots that I'm interested in, and all the way down to 36 ish. But I think that we can go ahead and put horizontal here. I think that area is interesting, and I just have my box drawn down to the lower body on this candle, because I think that's a decent. So you have the off of that dip, you've got the weekly high on the for the body here, and we also have the top body here on this candle. So what I'm really trying to do is catch wicks into this area if we get a flush further to the downside. So, like we talked about in the last video, looking at this area first for a bounce, and right now we're holding there. So let's zoom in a little bit and see what we have. Let's get rid of this for now. There we go. That looks better. So right now, the daily looks pretty bad. Could be could be worse, but not the greatest looking candle in my opinion. but still you can see a lot better here the run up and why this horizontal was drawn at this high before it flushed down, cooled off a little bit, and then made the run up to new highs. And as we trickled up slowly to all-time high and rolled over. So I'm still looking at this area. This is a very important level based off of this, in my opinion. And what we want to see go into the 4 hour, um, we're we're seeing wicks candles wick down into this area, and it's getting bought up. It's giving the impression that it's getting progressively weaker. But we can still hold from here. Or we can do something like this from this area where we have push down, then back up. Just to flush everyone out who's long the support area. Flush out all the leverage longs here and reset funding and make a move back to the upside. So that's a scenario I'm looking at. I'm also looking at this here. So we go to the hourly. Oops. Go to the hourly. Same situation that we were just talking about. Uh, this is the first. This is the first area that we've seen something that looks like it could actually be a bottom ever since this flush up here. Ever since this flush. This is the first time that we've seen something that could potentially be a bottom. So, like I said, what we want to see is a break of this horizontal here, this 46 level. That's what I want to see anyway. I want to see this break. So I want to see some kind of action, even if it's a dip a little bit lower, come up and reclaim that area, and try and start making our way up higher. And then the next level that I think is rather significant is this 52 area, to reclaim that and reclaim this. But we got to take it one level at a time, right? So first, we're looking down here for this to hold at 42. If this bounces with any significance, then we're going to look for, or I'm going to look for the 46, 47 area to hold, and flip that from resistance to support. Clean this up. So we could have another scenario, right? And like I said, it's holding, but as of right now, it's looking fairly weak. It's more or less looking kind of like this. Yeah. So to the point where we could have something like, but we're holding, right? So we're okay at this moment in time. But we easily could roll to the downside, right? We could roll down. And if we roll down any further, my next move would be to I just want to clean this up as we talk about this. If we fail to hold this 42 level, I think 40 is the next logical place to look at. 40 seems like the next logical place, basing it off of this area here. And really, I'm looking to bid anywhere in this box, anywhere from 40 to 38 if we lose this level. That's still the plan. I still think that's a reasonable situation for us to be in. And I'm still bullish until we lose, let's just say 30K. If we lose 33K, 30K, I'll be concerned. But until that happens, I'm still looking for places to take longs. So I think it's still reasonable to say that something plays out like this. Something along those lines. Something like that. And I'll be laddering bids in here, depending on what the move down looks like, and trying to find something that looks like a bottom to me, for a swing long. Scalping, I'll be trying to catch scalps. I'll be trying to catch any wicks into any of these areas that are significant to me. So wick to this horizontal here, or really any wick into this box on lower time frames. So if we go to the hourly, I'm looking for situations like this. Look at this one first. So my horizontal is drawn here. I'm looking for this situation on scalps. I'm looking for a wick down. I'm gonna bid this area and place a stop within reason, depending on my sizing, below this area. Most likely waiting for this wick to play out and see the run back up, and that's where I'd look to buy. But I'll be watching levels like this if we move lower. So same situation applied here. So I would be looking at what happened with this candle. And as soon as I saw this wick here get close to a level that I had drawn, that's where I took a long position here. And I did not take one here, unfortunately. I was not sitting in front of my screen at that particular time. But you guys get the gist of what I'm saying. Scalp wise, I'm just trying to watch my levels first, and then anything else that I see is significant in between my levels. That looks like a good scalp play. If I get sorry about that. So if I get another opportunity like this, and we get a decent bounce off of this candle looks like it's forming decently well. I don't know if we get a bounce off of this, then I'll try and look to do the same and try and get a scalp up. But if this looks weak, if this looks like it's going to get weaker and keep forming lower highs, then I'll be less optimistic about it. But the good news is we're holding this area and we're not making lower lows yet. And the reason I'm super interested in this area is not just because I've drawn it and I talked about this previously, but I've taken a position here for two reasons. One, I like this level. This level makes a lot of sense to me in terms of 42 acting as logical support, but also because of this. This divergence. So this on the OBV, this bullish divergence, and this holding flat indicates to me that there's a reasonably probable chance that we make some sort of move to the upside from here. Obviously, we're going to watch this and see how this level reacts in the near term. But this is another indicator for me that I'm watching, along with the price action, to see where we're headed next and where I want to add or cut. But I just want to show you guys that. I thought that was that's an interesting piece. But so far, nothing has changed with my plan in terms of BTC. I'm still looking at 40. 40 to 38 is the first area that I'm looking at. If we lose 42, um, uh, if we lose 42, I'm still going to be looking in this area. And if we lose 36, I'm going to have to reevaluate my plan based off of what the price action looks like, and rechart and reevaluate how BTC looks and how the market looks as a whole at that point. So right now, uh, like I've said in my previous videos, I just play, my style is just playing it level by level and not trying to look too far into the future, uh, and just trying to make trades based off of levels that I'm really confident with, levels that have shown that would act as strong support um, in the near term. So not much has changed here, guys. I don't think there's much more to cover other than it looks like we might have something interesting forming in terms of a logical split, a logical place to bottom here. And we have that bull div on the hourly that gives me a little bit more conviction that a move to the upside is potentially possible from here. If not, I'm going to be bidding this area once again, and I'll probably be bidding rather heavy unless we see some FUD come out or Elon tries to continue playing the games he's playing. Anyway, that's BTC. I told you guys I wanted to show you something on the weekly that um, is an interesting macro to follow, and that's these orange verticals. So what I basically did was I more or less charted the places where um, in recent history that BTC topped for a period of time and made a downtrend, and then the inverse of that, right? And the inverse happens to be um, really the start of the bull cycle we're in now. So the first vertical that's been drawn is about July 2019, and then I want to look at the DXY, the dollar index, okay? And what I want to show you guys, and I've done a little bit of charting here. This played out wonderfully thus far. But so around that same time, so in January, yeah, January 18, the XY kind of started to form a little bit of a bottom. And then um, I looked at that because I thought that was significant to start looking at where this was bottoming and then pay attention to BTC based off that. Um, because this is the other end of your fraction for BTC, right? Is the dollar. If you're trading in the USD, USDT, USDC pairs, this is the other side of your fraction. So this is important to look at. In my opinion, it is. Maybe some people will disagree with me, but I think it's an interesting thing, interesting correlation to follow. Because around that time, so what did we say? We said BTC July 19. So July 19 is somewhere in this area, right? It's kind of when, in the middle of this uptrend, right? Middle of this uptrend is when BTC, sorry, started to kind of hang up. And you could even walk it back to DXY is bottoming somewhere in this area. And as it's bottoming, it's not really making a move to the upside or downside, just kind of finding a bottom. BTC makes a little run up. But anyway, we start this downtrend here all the way until March 20, and that's when DXY is in a little bit of an uptrend. And then we come to this level that I charted, which is the DXY high after this trend, which was March 16, 20, which I guarantee you I can guess anyone who's been following anything related to BTC knows about that particular day, that particular series of pain and suffering and fallen comrades. And that's when we hit our low, right? I believe that's the same time as the Trump speech, if I'm not mistaken. So we had the DXY top and BTC bottom. Like this is the cycle bottom for the bull run, and the top for DXY. So you have on around about that same week, we had this top, and ever since then, downtrend, BTC, ever since then, bottom, bottom, uptrend. So that's just something interesting to keep in mind and pay attention to if you like looking at not just support resistance levels and and horizontals, but maybe you just want to trade, macro trends and look for correlations between BTC and the dollar or equities. That's something that might be interesting. Another thing that I wanted to point out before I end this on BTC is what this looks like right now in terms of, will we bottom right here at 42 or will we not? And then another, whether we like it or not, equities are BTC is now correlated to equities in some way, shape, or form. So let's look at equities right now. CME Mini. This does not look great to me. So this is the weekly, right? Um, if this continues down in any capacity, we're gonna BTC is likely to follow at least for a period of time. If equities slide, then I would not be immediately bullish on BTC during that time period. So that's something else to pay attention to if you want to look at something else to help you make some informed decisions on trades or give you some other data points to look at as well. So to summarize, if 42K holds, this is what we're going to be watching. It's what everyone's going to be watching for a potential bottom. If not, the next logical place is in the 40 to 38K area, even as low as 36 is what I would look for personally, and I think a lot of other traders are going to look at that area as well. So that's the outlook right now. We've got some significant levels to reclaim if we do bottom, or we before, and if we resume up. And again, those levels in my mind, what I'm looking at is a reclaim of 47 and then a reclaim of 52. Makes a lot of sense to me. So, like I said, I'm taking a position, or I've taken a scalp, and I've also taken a spot position here to see how this plays out. I think the R&R is decent in this area, but I'll look for any bottom signals down in this area if this fails. And I think that's where we're at right now, and we just need to play it level by level. I think that's all. That's all I'm gonna do. So best of luck to you guys. Have some more follow-up videos in the days to come to see how this situation plays out, and maybe I'll post some altcoin charts that I'm following currently. If anyone's interested in anything, please post it in the comments, and I'd be happy to give my take on it. All right. Have a good one. Happy trading.